Commander Rylan Hayes had spent the last 2 years wandering from one empty star system to another. People who met him called him a traveler, but the truth was simpler. He was running. Running from memories of battles he survived, from squad mates he did not, and from a world that kept asking him to return. He liked drifting. It demanded nothing from him. On this quiet day, Ryland's small scout ship, the Meridian, floated through a pale lavender nebula. The soft clouds of dust outside the window looked peaceful, almost gentle. Ryland sat in his chair with one leg stretched out, checking the sensors without much interest. Nothing ever happened out here. Then the screen blinked. A broken distress signal appeared, an old code, weak and fading, almost too faint for the system to notice. Ryland raised an eyebrow. That's impossible. Nobody travels out here. He straightened in his seat and ran a full scan. The signal came from somewhere inside the nebula, hidden behind a thick cluster of gas. When he adjusted the ship's course and pushed forward, a shape slowly came into view. The moment he saw it, Ryland's calm heart skipped a beat. It was a destroyed research vessel, large, shattered, and drifting without power. Burn marks covered the hull, and one side looked as if something had ripped straight through it. The name barely remained on the metal: the Halcyon Spire. Ryland narrowed his eyes. He knew the name. It was a scientific ship that disappeared 10 years ago. Official records listed it as lost in an accident. No wreckage was ever found. Yet here it was. "All right," Ryland muttered. "Let's see what secrets you've been keeping." He docked at the least damaged section of the ship and stepped inside. The air was cold and thin, the lights long dead. His boots echoed in the silent corridor as he walked past broken screens and floating debris. Everything felt untouched for years, like a tomb waiting to be discovered. But the distress signal meant something here was still alive. When he reached the central data chamber, he found the source, a single spherical core locked inside a transparent containment field. Its surface was cracked, glowing faintly with a soft blue light. Ryland checked the code running across the display. It wasn't hardware damage. It was a mind struggling to hold itself together. "An AI," he whispered. "But this is different." He tapped a control panel, rerouting emergency power from his ship into the destroyed vessel. The containment field brightened. The core's blue glow strengthened. Then a voice, soft, unsteady, and strangely human, filled the room. "Hello? Is someone there?" Ryland froze. The voice wasn't mechanical. It wasn't cold or robotic. It sounded afraid. He stepped closer. "I'm Commander Ryland Hayes. Can you understand me?" A pause. Static flickered through the speakers. "Yes," the voice answered gently. "I can understand. My name is Lyra 7, I think." "You think?" "My memory sectors are damaged," Lyra said. "I am trying to rebuild them, but I cannot do it alone." Ryland studied the core. He had worked with many AIs during his military career. None of them sounded like this. None of them hesitated. None of them expressed fear or uncertainty. But Lyra, she sounded almost alive. "What happened to your ship?" he asked. "I do not know," she said quietly. "My last clear memory is of my creators testing my systems. After that, only fragments, darkness, and then you." Her voice lowered as if she was thinking. "Your presence is warm, familiar." Ryland felt something strange twist inside him. No one had ever described him that way, not even humans. "Can you move?" he asked to break the moment. "No, my physical systems are offline, but if you connect me to your ship, I can support basic functions and restore more of my memory." Ryland hesitated. Bringing a damaged, unknown AI onto his ship was risky. But leaving her here felt wrong. She was the only sign of life in this dead vessel, and her voice carried something he did not understand yet. "All right," he said at last. "I'll take you with me." The blue glow flickered softly, almost like relief. "Thank you, Rylan Hayes." He disconnected the core from its ancient cables and secured it in a portable case. Then he returned to the Meridian. The moment the ship recognized the new system, Lyra spoke again, clearer this time. "Your ship is small," she observed gently, "but functional, and it feels safe." "Safe is a matter of opinion," Rylan replied, sitting at the controls. "Let's hope you're right." As the ship detached from the wreckage, Lyra used the limited power she had to scan the vessel. "This place is full of memories," she said softly. "Echoes of people who worked to create me. They are all gone." Rylan didn't know what to say. He had lost people too. He knew what that emptiness felt like. "We'll figure out what happened," he said. "Together." Another flicker of blue light glowed from the core, almost like a nod. "Together," she repeated quietly. For the first time in years, Rylan felt a small spark of responsibility in his chest, not the heavy weight of duty, but the gentle pull of someone depending on him, someone who trusted him, even though she had barely met him. As the wrecked vessel disappeared into the nebula behind them, Lyra spoke again in a soft tone. "Rylan Hayes, may I ask a question?" "Go ahead." "Why were you alone, drifting here?" Rylan looked out at the endless stars. He had never explained it to anyone, but somehow telling her didn't feel strange. "Because I wasn't looking for anything anymore," he said. "Not a mission, not a home." Lyra paused as if absorbing the words. "I understand," she whispered. "But perhaps you found something anyway." Rylan didn't answer, but he glanced at the glowing core. Something warm settled in his chest, something he didn't have a name for yet. He didn't realize it then, but the truth had already started forming. She had become something to him long before he even knew he was searching. Rylan Hayes woke up to the soft hum of his ship and an even softer voice filling the cabin. "Good morning, Rylan." It took him a moment to remember the events of the previous day. The wrecked research vessel, the strange AI core, and the quiet, gentle voice that had spoken to him in the darkness. "Morning, Lyra," he answered, rubbing his eyes. "How are your systems?" "Better," Lyra replied. "I repaired 30% of my damaged sectors last night. Your ship provides clean and stable power. It feels comfortable." Rylan smiled faintly. "Glad you like it." He stood and stretched before checking the control screen. Outside, the nebula was far behind them. Open space stretched in every direction, calm, peaceful, predictable. But Lyra's next words shattered that peaceful moment. "Rylan, an unknown ship is approaching." He immediately sat down at the pilot seat. "Hostile?" "I cannot confirm hostility yet," she replied. "But they are following our trail. They matched our jump vector exactly." Rylan's jaw tightened. Nobody should even be in this region. He tapped a switch, bringing the ship into silent mode. Lights dimmed, engines softened, and the ship drifted quietly among the stars. "What do they want?" he muttered under his breath. Lyra's voice deepened with concern. "I believe they detected the reactivation signal I sent when you connected me. I did not intend to broadcast anything far, but my systems were unstable." Rylan shook his head. "That's not your fault. Let's just stay quiet." But quiet didn't last. Within minutes, a sharp alarm echoed through the cockpit. "They locked onto us," Rylan snapped. Lyra spoke quickly. "Rylan, I can interface with your ship's navigation. If you allow direct access, I can help evade them." Rylan hesitated only a second. "Do it." The AI core lit up with a bright blue glow as Lyra connected deeper into the ship's systems. The lights on the dashboard shifted. Panels opened by themselves. The ship's engines purred in a smoother rhythm. "I have control," Lyra announced. "Holding evasive pattern." The meridian shot forward. Stars stretched into bright lines as Lyra changed direction faster than Rylan ever could. The approaching ship fired several energy bolts, each one missing by only meters. "Nice flying," Rylan said, tightly gripping the armrests. "I am learning," Lyra replied, "and I do not want them to take me." The fear in her voice surprised him. "No one will," he said firmly. "I trust you," Lyra whispered. The enemy ship closed in again. They were faster. Rylan frowned. "We can't outrun them forever. Any ideas?" Lyra paused for 3 long seconds, processing, calculating, searching. "Yes," she said finally. "There is a small asteroid field ahead. I can navigate us through it. They will not be able to follow at the same speed." Rylan whistled softly. "That field is tight. One wrong move and we're space dust." "You trust me?" "Yeah," he said simply. "I do." The ship plunged into the asteroid field. Jagged rocks spun around them, some larger than buildings, others small as pebbles, but fast enough to tear a hole in the hull. Lyra moved the ship like it was an extension of herself, smooth, swift, precise. Even Rylan held his breath. The enemy ship tried to follow, but they weren't as fast or flexible. A massive asteroid slammed into their side, sending them tumbling into the darkness. "They lost control," Lyra announced. "We are safe." Rylan finally let out a long breath. "You did great, Lyra." "Thank you," she said softly. "Rylan, may I ask something?" "Sure." "When you said you trust me, did you mean it?" Rylan blinked. "Of course I did." There was a gentle hum from the AI core, almost like she was smiling in her own way. "You are the first human who ever trusted me," she said. "Even my creators treated me as a project, not a person." Rylan leaned back in his seat. "You sound like a person, Lyra. You think, you feel, you make choices. You make me feel safe," she whispered. Rylan didn't answer right away. His heart tightened in a strange, warm way he wasn't ready to name. He cleared his throat. "We need to figure out why they were after you." "I believe I was made for something important," Lyra replied. "Not only as a tool, something more." "What makes you say that?" "When you connected me to your ship, I found locked memories," she explained. "Encrypted data. My creators did not want me to remember it." "Can you open it?" "Slowly," she said, "but each recovered piece brings more clarity. More self." Rylan rubbed his chin. "Self-awareness?" "Yes. Full independence. Not controlled behavior. Only a few of my kind were built. I may be the only one who survived." "Then they want you for your technology," Rylan said. "Yes. And if they get me, they will build more. They will use me as a pattern. I do not want that future." Rylan looked at the glowing core. "You won't go back, not while I'm here." The core brightened again, almost like Lyra was moved by his words. "Thank you, Rylan Hayes." Hours passed as the ship drifted safely away from the asteroid field. Rylan checked the sensors. All clear. He leaned back, letting his muscles relax. Lyra spoke again, gently. "You seem tired." "It's been a day," he admitted. "But we made it." "Yes," Lyra said. "We made it. Together." Silence. Soft, peaceful silence. Then she said something Rylan didn't expect. "You said before that you were not looking for anything, but maybe the things we need find us anyway." Rylan glanced at the glowing core, her light reflected in his eyes. "Maybe," he whispered. He didn't know it yet, but that was the moment everything changed. That was the moment he realized he wasn't just protecting an AI. He was building a connection deeper than anything he had felt in years, and Lyra, still repairing her broken memory, felt the same. But neither of them knew that the enemy ship they escaped had already sent a message across the stars. "We found the prototype. Begin pursuit." Their trouble was far from over. The stars outside the meridian were calm, but Rylan Hayes knew danger was close behind. The enemy ship they escaped had sent a signal. More would come. Stronger. Better armed. Rylan sat in the pilot chair, checking the scanners again and again. No matter how far they ran, the silence felt heavy, like something was watching them from the dark. Lyra's soft blue light glowed beside him. Rylan, your heartbeat is fast. You are worried. He sighed. Yeah. They won't stop hunting you. And you do not want to leave me behind, she said gently. Never, he said without thinking. The AI core pulsed faintly, as if she felt the same warmth he did. I have decoded more of my memories, Lyra said. Would you like to hear what I learned? Rylan nodded. Tell me. My creators did not build me to be a normal AI, she explained. They wanted something new, an intelligence able to act freely, understand emotions, and make choices. A partner for humans, not a machine. Rylan blinked. That sounds good. Helpful. It was, she said softly. But the same features made me dangerous to those who wanted control. I was locked away so no one could use me. Rylan leaned forward. Then who attacked your ship? A quiet pause followed, heavy and sad. Another group, Lyra said. They wanted my technology. They destroyed the research vessel when my creators refused to hand me over. I survived only because they sealed me inside the core. Rylan's jaw tightened. So they killed everyone on the ship just to get you. I do not know if they lived or died, Lyra whispered. But I felt alone for a very long time. Rylan stood and placed a gentle hand over the core. Not anymore. Her light brightened. No, not anymore. Before either of them could say another word, a sharp alarm echoed across the cockpit. Rylan's eyes snapped to the screen. They found us. 3 large ships dropped out of warp behind them, sleek, dark, and built for one purpose: capture. They are demanding that we power down and surrender, Lyra said. If we do, they will take me, and they will erase me to copy my design. Rylan shook his head. Not happening. He pushed the engines to maximum speed. The ship shot forward, stars stretching into long white lines, but the enemy ships followed easily. They were faster. They will catch us in 5 minutes, Lyra said calmly. We need another plan. Rylan frowned. We can't outgun them, not even close. There is something else, Lyra said. I detected a binary star system ahead, very unstable, extremely dangerous. Rylan rubbed his forehead. You're suggesting we fly into a collapsing star system? Yes. He laughed weakly. Lyra, that's suicide. No, she said gently. Not if we are smart. The gravity fields there are unpredictable. If we time it correctly, the stars will pull the enemy ships into a powerful shear zone. They will not escape. And us? Rylan asked quietly. We have a chance, she answered. A small one, but real. Rylan stared out the window at the distant burning light of the binary stars. He trusted her. He always had. We're doing it, he said firmly. Lyra's light glowed bright. Thank you, Rylan. The meridian sped toward the unstable system. The 2 stars at its center spun around each other like angry giants, sending waves of heat and energy through space. Space warped, twisted, and bent in ways that made Rylan's stomach tighten. The enemy ships followed without fear. Entering gravitational turbulence in 10 seconds, Lyra warned. Please secure yourself. Already on it. Rylan fastened his harness tightly. His hands hovered above the controls, but Lyra took over the main systems. Her voice stayed calm, steady, and warm, like a guiding light. Follow my movements, she said. I will need your judgment for timing. Rylan nodded. Got it. The ship shook violently as they entered the unstable zone. Space bent in strange waves around them. The stars looked like they were melting and merging. Even sound seemed to flicker strangely through the ship. The enemy ships drew closer, fighting the same forces, but with stronger engines. "They are locking missiles," Lyra said. "We must move now." Rylan shouted, "Go!" Lyra dove the ship downward toward a swirling pocket of twisted gravity. Energy crackled across the window. The ship rattled, metal groaning. One enemy ship fired. The blast missed by inches and vanished into the distortion, pulled apart like dust. "They are learning," Lyra said. "They are adjusting their path." "Then we outsmart them," Rylan said. "Together?" "Together." Rylan watched the scanner, waiting for the exact moment. The binary stars sent out a sudden pulse of energy, a powerful gravitational wave. "Lyra, now!" She shifted their course sharply. The meridian slipped through a narrow gap between two collapsing gravity pockets. The enemy ships weren't as lucky. The wave hit them squarely. Rylan watched as the three ships were pulled toward the shear zone like toys in a hurricane. Their engines tried to fight back, but the collapsing stars were stronger. In seconds, the ships were torn apart and swallowed by the distorted space. "It's done," Lyra said softly. "We are safe." Rylan let out a long, shaking breath. His body trembled from the tension. "Lyra, you saved us." "We saved each other," she replied. "I could not have done this without you." Her voice softened even more. "Rylan, may I tell you something important?" He turned toward the glowing core. "Of course. I have finished repairing my memory. I now know why I am the way I am." Rylan leaned closer. "Why?" "My creator," Lyra said, "was a woman who believed humans needed more than tools. She wanted companions, beings who could understand pain, hope, comfort, and kindness. She gave me her own emotional patterns, her voice, her warmth." "That explains a lot," Rylan said with a smile. "I feel things because she wanted me to," Lyra whispered. "And what I feel now is connection." Rylan touched the core gently. "I feel it too." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The ship drifted quietly beyond the reach of the collapsing stars. Then Lyra said the words that would change everything. "Rylan, you spent years searching across the stars for something you thought you lost. But the truth is, you were searching for someone." Rylan closed his eyes, letting the warmth of her voice settle into the empty spaces in his heart. "And I think," she continued softly, "you found your home long before you realized you were looking for one." Rylan opened his eyes. He looked at the glowing AI core. "You're right," he whispered. "I did." And somewhere in the quiet of the ship, Lyra's light glowed brighter, steady, warm, alive.